Sometimes I read what has been written. This is our Wednesday night channeling number 80. And this is really an interesting title tonight. It's the Master that has come through. And the title, The Love of Man for God. Most on your plane do not identify with God as He truly is, though you can and do identify with life. They know that they are alive. My dear ones, to be alive is to be one with God. Through man's descension into the lower levels, he has lost the true meaning of life and living. But even in his blindness, he struggles to lift himself up, even when he is in the gutter of drunkenness and illusion. His soul cries out for more life, even if it is in a bottle of booze or drugs. When one turns downward, it is because he has lost sight of himself and his meaning of life. Life is for the living. Life is for the giving of more life, that you may receive more. Live not in the outer trappings of how you comb your hair or what kind of jeans you wear. This makes not for life except for a short spurt of feeling you belong to the herd. The outer gives no lasting sustenance of life and the living of life. It gives only a false impression of security that is short-lived. Yet as Yet as you are reaching for these outer trappings, you are reaching for God and the love of God, and know it not. Go for it, and accumulate all the physical your heart desires until you know that it fulfills you not. If you live 1,000 lifetimes, filling your pockets with gold and all it buys, it matters not. You will awaken to the divine being that you are, for God lives within you. He is the life force that you are. And sooner or later, the spiritual self of you will press itself out to be known and seen even on your physical plane. Know this, my dear ones, when the inhabitants of your plane feels a hunger in any way and reaches out for fame, material wealth, physical love, drugs, and so forth, he is in truth reaching for God's love. When one wants to receive love, they are in truth wanting to love God. As you took on the concept of duality and dividing this from that, you lost sight that it is more blessed to give than to receive. For it is true that the more you give, the more you receive. For in the act of giving, you are receiving. Giving is the greatest privilege one has on your dimension. As you understand this, you realize that any desire or hunger, no matter how it is expressed or pressed out, it is in truth a desire to love God, to love life. Give to life, give to life, or God, the greatest gift that can be given, love. As you grow in consciousness, you are learning to give love unconditionally. When you give love without conditions, you are truly giving. Giving is the natural attitude of life. Life gives to life itself, and life gives back to itself, as there is nothing in the whole of the universe but life, or you may use the word God. In the understanding of man's love for God, and start over again. In this understanding for man's love for God, maybe you will cease to judge yourself and others by outer appearances. Even the most hardened criminals, as you call them, in their most violent act, is reaching out, trying to know how to love God, love life. When you learn to realize, when you learn to reach inward to the heart of life, you will learn to touch the hem of His love and know yourself to be that which you call God. Quite a bit in there that's pretty heavy. And I will let him explain it a little better.
Until we don't lose what's coming.
No, not yet. It's an hour tape. Oh, we have something to celebrate tonight. Annabelle's sister graduated. And she is on the other dimensions now.
Your sister referred to Ian.
Yes, and that was one of the last things that she needed to do was to come and meet us before she left.
I think so.
Yes. And so we have a celebration tonight. And now you can turn the lights off if you want to. Turn it down.
It made a difference. It made a difference the way I reacted as.
Mm-hmm. Not completely off.
I'm going to turn this one off, so you turn that one off.
Now turn it down, would you please?
At that first turn.
All right. There you go.
Oh, I did wait for that. I had to coordinate to us.
All right, let's close our eyes and turn loose to the physical. And let us think of this circle as a circle of light. And this circle of light, this circle of humans that is really a circle of light, is reaching upward. And those on the higher dimensions are reaching down to make the contact with us. And we're doing this in love and through love, divine love. Let us feel the presence of the Master in our midst. And let us be open, realizing that everyone in this circle is a part of the contact, is a part of the channel, because you're lending your life force to this contact. My little ones, it is indeed a blessed privilege to be here with you in this way, and I welcome the new ones who are here this evening, and I know that you may not understand how this comes about, but it is truly contact with the higher dimensions of divine love and light. And before we start our session, I would say to our dear Annabelle that your sister, Mary Elizabeth, is being tended to by God's healing angels, and when she is ready and recuperated, she will join our circle on these Wednesday nights from this side of the veil. Continue to send her God's love, and it will help her to adjust, and it will be in a stockpile when she awakens from her healing. We have places of healing on these dimensions as you have hospitals. We use God's love broken down into different rays of light and color to bring about the healing that is needed for this particular individual. And over these places of healing, there is a large healing angel, very large, that conducts God's love through to those who dwell in these places. And when their souls are healed, when one is ill for a long time on the physical, it does leave a scar on the soul, and they need this healing. And when the healing is completed, then they go about what they have come here to do and start making plans for what they want to do for the future. Know that your dear one is being tended to, and continue to send God's love, and when she awakens, it will be there for her. It is a different message tonight for some of you, for you may not have understood how life truly is. And I wanted to bring this message in these words so that you could understand more. As Donald read the message, some of you heard it and some of you did not, but we will go over it again. You see, my dear ones, each one of you are God's. In true reality, your true being is divine. You are playing the role of human at this time on this lower dimension called Earth. This is just a play on a stage, and it is not real in the sense of eternity. Everything on your physical plane is illusion because it will not last, but it is important for your growth, and it is purposely set up as you would write a play and prepare the stage with certain props for the play to go on, and so that you are entertained by the play. Now, this play that you are playing out is for your soul's growth, and it gives you the opportunity to quicken your growth. When you are on these higher dimensions, everything is too easy. And as you come down to the physical plane, where there are so many different things happening, and so many diverse things happening that could happen to you, and do happen to some of you and around you, then you see the opportunity. Instead of calling them trouble and problems, think of them as opportunities for growth, opportunities to look through and beyond the outer framework that you see on this physical plane. Look beyond the illusion and see the true reality of life. See God hiding behind this illusion of the physical plane. Even the physical plane is God expressing in this way. For there is nothing in all creation, in all the universe, but God, and this includes you, each one of you, and everyone in the universe. So when we entitled this class, man's ability and learning how to love God. When you understand that everything that you do is motivated for growth, whether you know it or not. When I was in the physical and said to you, judge not by appearances, but judge righteous judgment, it was so important for you to understand this. Righteous means the right useness of the law. And when you judge by what appears to happen in the outer physical plane, you are judging amiss. But when you look beyond this and know that every act, every thought, everything that happens is for growth, soul's growth, it is difficult for some of you to see this and to understand it. But you see, when you come to the physical, you turn off, most of you turn off the memory of who you truly are, and you do not remember that you are divine. But that spark of divinity within you cries out to be heard. And this is what makes you hungry for different things. This is what makes you reach out for another individual to love and to make you happy. This is why so many now are trapped into taking drugs, because they are truly wanting to love God. This is the reason that they are taking drugs, is trying to find their way back home. They do not know this consciously, but they know that they want something, they need something. And I tell you, those who are in trouble with alcohol and drugs and different things of this nature are the ones who are reaching with greater effort for God. Now, this does not sound right to you from your physical plane and in your physical language, but it is true, my dear ones, and they will awaken. Maybe not this lifetime, maybe not this year, but they will awaken and know their true self. You need not be concerned, but do continue to send God's love so that they can be helped to awaken a little quicker, so that they will have the light to show them the way in their sober moments. For even those who are in the most trouble with drugs and alcohol and different things of this nature do have moments that are sober, and they do reflect. You who are on the physical can reach them with God's love much better than we can, because you are on the physical plane. Each dimension has its own laws, and you are under the law of the physical plane. Now, God has given everyone free will, and because of free will, we on these higher dimensions, even though we have great power of understanding, cannot interfere with the free will of those who are struggling to find their way back home. And when they reach out for these things that are destructive, we have to wait and let them go through the process of finding their way in whatever way they are reaching out. Some are reaching out for material wealth. Some are reaching out for love from another that will give them satisfaction and fulfill them. But my dear ones, I tell you in all truth that unless they know God, they will never find what they are looking for by reaching out. It is the reaching in that is necessary. You need to learn to reach within yourself, for within you all is there. Everything that you need is within you. Now, you may not understand this because you think of yourself as the physical body, but you see you're not the physical body. It's just a vehicle that you're using to work through. You're not your mind. It is another vehicle, and so on. You are divine. You are pure spirit. And as you move upward in consciousness, you will discover this, and you will understand. But until then, you will be hungry for the ability to love God, to love life, to love yourself. And as long as you do not understand how to do this and understand what life is all about, this hunger will drive you to do different things, trying to find what it is that makes you hungry. My dear ones, I would have you know that God does not condemn you for any of this struggle, for anything that you do. I do not condemn you, and nor do your teachers. And you must realize this and not condemn yourself. Guilt and self-condemnation are very destructive, and they only hold these destructive things to you. Everyone is in the hands of God at all times, for they could not be otherwise. You see, there is only one life in the whole universe, and this life we have named God. And God is expressing in many different forms. God is expressing as you and I, as natures, animals, and so on, even as the planet. God is expressing as these different things. And when you understand, truly understand, there is no such thing as duality. There is no good or evil. There is no time or space, for everything is God. This may sound very strange to some of you who are not used to hearing this, but it is the true message that you will learn to understand as you raise your consciousness above these lower dimensions, and as you learn to understand that all is one and one is all. Let us pause for this time and give you opportunity to ask questions. I know that this is a deep subject for some of you, and feel free to question and to disagree if you so choose. Are there questions tonight?
I would like to know.
Yes, speak up louder, please.
I would like to know whether a person is better off buried in a coffin or cremated.
Excuse me. My dear Annabelle, it matters not, for your dear sister does not abide in that body any longer, and it is whatever the custom. If your family feels better to have a funeral and to be buried in a casket in the ground, then let it be so, and be not concerned about it. For this is not your sister. This is just the outer shell that she wore for 95 years, was it not? And she is a dear and beloved one, and she is loved by many on these dimensions, and she has care, so much more care that you know not of, and will soon be here in your circle. But the time of healing is in her hands and in God's hands, but it matters not. Are there other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned some of the healing procedure or methods that are going on with Annabelle's sister. Is there a different thing that happens with someone that graduates, such as my brother, as you were mentioning, drugs and such thing as being in trouble or finding God again, or loving God, or reaching for God?
It is all healing, my dear one. Anyone on this dimension that is not a master needs healing. All of you in this circle need healing. It may be on the physical level, it may be on the mental level, it may be on the spiritual level, or some of the dimensions in between. But it is all healing. And healing means bringing back at one-ment with the God within them, aligning their vibrations on all dimensions with the divinity that they are. And sometimes it takes many lifetimes for complete healing to occur, because they have to go through many experiences before that individual time has come for them to awaken. Because of free will, it is difficult for you to understand why God does not heal everyone and just make them whole and complete. But you see, my dear ones, you are God's in the making, and without the free will, you would be puppets on a string, and you would not want this. And even though the path seems rugged and very difficult at times, it is the path that you choose to grow. With your every thought, word, and deed, you create your life as it is. And from one incarnation to another, you project ahead of you what the other incarnation is going to be like, from what you did or did not do in the present incarnation. So, you see, it is still a healing process. But when one comes to this dimension, they still have free will. And if they are in darkness, if they have taken their own life, or and you see, when one destroys themselves with drugs, it is the same as taking their life. It is the same as suicide, because they have wanting to end their life on this plane. By subconsciously, they are wanting to end what they have on this plane because it is painful to them. And they do not understand that they cannot end it just by losing their physical body. because when they come here, they still have the pain, they still have the confusion and misunderstanding. But if they will and can accept the help from the ones who are here to help them, and there are many who choose to work with you on the physical plane, and when they cross over to this dimension, they are met by maybe some of the family, and if they have no one familiar to them, then someone meets them and tries to help them. But if they do not accept the help, then they have to wait and let them go about their stumbling in the dark plains until they can give up and awaken and ask for help. Then all the help is available to them. Did this help your understanding? Yes.
May I ask, isn't the physical pain gone when they leave this life?
You see, my dear Annabelle, your physical body does not have pain. Yes, it is the mind that has the pain. It is the concepts in the mind, and your mind is interpenetrated with your physical body. And you see, you take everything with you when you leave your physical plane except the physical body. You take all your worries and doubts and troublings, and it depends on how you handle it. Let us make an example of one who has cancer. This is a well-known thing, and let us say that they are so disheartened and so upset and did not handle it very well when they were in the physical and were very discouraged. More than likely, they will still have the pain that they had when they come here until they can give up and ask for help and ask for healing. Then healing is always available to them. But when someone has cancer and they know that God is in his heaven and all is well, and that everything is all right, and they handle it in a positive and loving way, then when they graduate to these dimensions, then the pain and the dis-ease is ended, and that is the end of it. They have overcome it, even though they have gone through the experience we call death. And your prophet, Edgar Casey, said many times, death is the healer, but it depends on how the individual handles their dis-ease, how they think about it. Do you understand? Yes. God bless you. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, I recently read a book called Tender Witnesses that is to do with a group that Don was with when he first came out to Arizona. And in that book, as the group met and got together, they were able to make contact with and talk to friends and relatives that had gone over to the other side. I was wondering if that at any time would be possible with our group to do that type of thing.
Yes, it is always possible. It was never meant for you to be out of contact with these dimensions. But you see, through many, many centuries of negative thinking, man has clouded this planet with a dark cloud of negative thoughts that shuts you off from these dimensions. And if you proceed in Don's classes, you will come to one that does teach you how to make contact and it teaches you in the correct way, and with your teachers and your guides and your friends. There are 2 classes that can help you to be able to do this. Anyone can do it. It is difficult to put into your physical language the process of doing it, but it is a matter of learning how to listen. Now, when you try to make contact, you can reach many different levels. You can reach the dark levels, as the book explained, did it not? When they first started, they did reach the dark levels and had to overcome this and had to rise above it. And so when you are searching for this ability to make contact with us, and we do not discourage you from doing this, but we encourage you to learn how to do it in the right way. The teacher Elwa taught when the group asked how to do this, how to protect themselves from the lower entities. And his answer was, your motive is your protection. Now, if you can understand this, it means your reason for wanting to make the contact, and also at the level of consciousness that you are operating on. So, whatever level that you are vibrating on is the level that you will reach. And you do fluctuate. There are days when you feel down, as you say, and there are days when you feel up. And so if you try to make contact on those days when you are not feeling up to par, as you would say, when you are down, then it is very possible you could easily reach the dark levels. But instead of doing that when you feel down, send God's love into yourself. Send God's love into the world, into all those who are in darkness. Send God's love into all of those that are like you, that are trying to grow and to press out of this shell that binds you to these lower dimensions. And as you learn to send God's love and do it unconditionally, then you see this raises your consciousness. This brightens your spirit. And when you send every day, every Wednesday, when Donald is preparing for this class, he starts early in the morning sending love into this circle of light, sending love, in God's love, into himself and into his ability to get out of the way so that we can come through. And if he has prepared correctly, then it is easy for us to come through. There are times when it is more difficult for us to come through, but there are so many here, so many angels of light and beings of light, and you would be amazed if you could see how many invisibles, as you call them, are here tonight. There are 20 times or more in the invisible than there are in the physical that are just sitting here learning as you are learning, plus your teachers and your guides that have come with you and many other beings of light who are helping to make this contact and to keep it a clear, clean, open channel. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
But if I could just kind of add on to that, as I was reading through when they, the groups that Donald was with had their meetings and they were filled with the invisible, then our teachers and guide, that's when occasionally the being worth coming through their channel would step aside to allow those to come in. And that is more what I was wondering, if that would ever happen, say weeks down the road for Annabelle or for some of us.
Yes, I see what you are saying. You are asking if your friends and relatives are that have crossed over could come through. I do not know how to answer this, as this channel has not been prepared for this, and but we will take it into advisement. And you see, we do have what you would call board meetings, and over here we have a council of 20 who sits, and we talk about your group and your Wednesday night meetings, the ones who are coming and the ones who will come to the group, and we discuss these things among us, and we use God's love and light to bring understanding. And this will no doubt be one of the things that we will discuss in our next meeting. Yes. Are there other questions? This is a beautiful night and a beautiful circle of light, and all of you are striving to be in agreement and to be at one with each other, and this makes it a beautiful understanding that can come through into your minds. You see, it is so much different from these levels of light than it is on your physical plane. We do not use language as you use it. We use what you would call thought transfers, but much more than that. And so there is much more for us to experience. And as you learn to be free from the lower dimensions and free from your fears and all the things that go with fear, then you can learn to open up to these dimensions even while you are in the physical. There are times when Donald does tune in to our council meetings, and it is not that he has been invited. It is that he is at a place of consciousness when he picks up some of the things that we are talking about, and we become aware that he has picked it up. And it is like this: whenever you raise your consciousness and turn loose of your fears and rise above the physical plane, you will be able to tune in, and some of you do already. There are times when you are aware of our presence, and there are times that you are consciously aware, and there are times that you're aware but not conscious that you're aware. Does this make sense to you?
I think so.
God bless you. Are there other questions this evening? Feel free to speak out. We do not encourage personal questions, but we do encourage understanding of the spiritual nature and understanding yourself and how to be free and learn to rise above the physical plane. This is all of everyone on this planet. This is your goal, is to be free so that you can rise above this plane and do it on a permanent basis, not have to come back, to not have to reincarnate. And you will, everyone on this plane will, that you have the freedom to take as long as you want, but you will find your freedom from this physical plane and reach up to the next dimension. Are there other questions this evening? I would touch again on man's desire to love God, man's longing to give of himself, and to remind you that it is more blessed to give than to receive, and to try to explain to you what this means, because you see, when you are giving, you are also receiving much more than you are giving, because the giving is through you. It is the life force flowing through you. And when you give God's love out to others, God's love is automatically going to you. And when you give a pleasant word or smile to another, you're giving it to yourself because you are experiencing it. Everything that you give, my dear ones, if it is negative or positive, you are receiving it. And this is why Donald encourages you to have the conscious control of your thoughts, so that what you give to life, you receive back. And if you give only the loving, positive, constructive thoughts and feelings and moods and attitudes, then you will receive them back multiplied many times, and it will help you to move higher in consciousness and have your freedom from this lower dimensions. Is there anything else that you would like to speak of tonight? It has been a blessed privilege to be with you, and I speak for all those from this side of the plane, and they are signaling me to tell each one of you that your loved ones that you have known in the physical, in this incarnation, and in many other incarnations, are here. Some of them are here. And they want you to know that. They want you to know that they look forward to these times of Wednesday night to be with you and to be in your presence when the light is so bright, when we make this contact. Remember this, my dear ones, and send them love often. Send love to all of those that you have ever known in any incarnation, any time, throughout eternity. For you have many, many dear ones that you love dearly and love you dearly and have for eons of time. God bless each and every one of you. Good evening. Can we stand and hold room? Bob. As we come together in the physical by holding hands, let us think of bringing the spiritual awareness that we have received down to the physical and down to this physical flame. Let the understanding and enlightenment that we have received spread out from this circle to cover this whole planet with God's love and light and healing hour. And let it go ahead of us into this week, into our every thought, word, and deed, into every situation and to every encounter. And realize that as you send love ahead of you, it is there to meet you every moment that you step into the next moment. And when you understand this and remember it, it is a joyous occasion that you live in the present moment with God's love to keep you company. Thank you, Father.